And so we're going to make the session fairly practical. We're going to have a look at thinking of, if we were launching a new product, how could that look like? And looking at some examples. So at HMT, we have a very simple mission, which is we create change together with our clients. We very much have a co-creation way of working with our clients. We are global and local experts. So we work across the globe, and we have a specialty in nutrition, health, and wellness. And we basically work with you in terms of understanding what's happening in the marketplace, the trends and insights, where should you play, what should be the right strategy, and also how to win with your brands, with your design. And we've been doing that for 15 years in 60 countries and with over 500 brands. And we love working with all sorts of companies, from the startups, the scale-ups, the regional players, the large FMCGs. And the common theme of all our clients is that they are change makers in the nutrition industry. And that's myself. So today, our topic is about the new faces of snacking. And the plural is very important, because obviously who's buying snacking? Different consumers. And there's not one size fits all. And that's what we're going to look at today. So I'm going to make it fairly practical to keep you awake before lunch. Imagine you've just launched a new product on shelf. What is that decision time for a consumer? How quickly would a consumer grab a product and put it in a shopping basket? Anyone? How much time? What is that decision time? 1 second. Yeah. So the purchase decision is made in a few seconds by that consumer. So it's either he's going to grab your product or someone else. And of course, it means you have to get it right first time, because the rate of failure is fairly high. So there is something you can do, is that you can understand what is that decision, what are the key factors that are coming into play when the consumer is in front of the shelf. And in a way, they are fairly simple. That's a really good news, that you have what we call 4 factors. The first one is, who needs the product? The second one, will I accept the ingredient? Do I understand those ingredients? Do I understand the benefit that I'm going to get from the product? And finally, do I trust the brand? So of course, if you are an ingredient supplier, you will be working with your customers. So the customer's brand will be very important. Okay? And what we say that the first 2, the factor 1 and the factor 3, are the factors of motivation. It's what's going to motivate consumer to grab the product. And the last 2 are factors of permission. It means there's no reasons to reject your product. Or perhaps sustainability is a nice to have rather than a must have. So these are important things to take into consideration. But also, what you need to think about is bringing that consumer into your innovation lifecycle model. Where does this consumer sit along the innovation lifecycle? And we're just going to take an example from the car industry. So if you think of the car industry, of course, you have Tesla. They came into the market with a new technology, breaking the rules, and they are, very much in the innovation space, what we call the technology and the lifestyle, the early adopters. And then you have your fast movers, the BMW, and they are very responding to this, what Tesla is doing. They also want to compete in the early adopter market, and they have the new e-models. And then finally, Mercedes, and they're still playing in mass market. So it's about staying true to who they are. It's still a Mercedes, but they're converting their portfolio with e-alternatives. So this is just to show you different examples of how you can enter the market with your innovation. So let's go back to our topic about snacking. And what are the trends in your market? And how can you plot them along the innovation life cycle? So let's look at a couple of trends. And while I'm presenting, then you can think in your head, okay, where would I plot that trend? Is it an early adopter trend? Is it more mass market, well-established? Let's do that exercise together. So the first trend is that snacking, of course, is a new eating. What we see is that snacks are seen as more staples. I mean, they are now part of our weekly shopping. And in terms of why we buy snacks, it's for a treat, to replace a meal, or out of boredom and distraction. And what we see as well is the Gen Z generation is our super snacking generation. They are really driving growth because they have these flexi-eating habits. Second trend, I've called it nutritious indulgence. This is about making snacking a no compromise. This is about snacking being real goodness. It's about providing wholesome snacks that are positively good for you. It's important that they are also cleaner, so free from preservatives, more natural, less processed. But what is very important is really to put the accent on the fact that it's full of taste, texture, nutrients, as well as not having the things that the consumers don't want. Of course, protein is still a very important motivational, nutritional benefit. And then what is growing is this idea of a conscious choice. So that the snack, I know where the snack comes from, that, if it can be sustainable, regenerative, etc., etc. Then experience with benefits. What we see as trending is that there's a move from snacking on the go to in-home snacks. And we are all experiencing that where we, especially when we work from home, how often do we go to the snack cupboard? Not really intentionally, but that's happening. So therefore, here, consumers are looking for more benefits, like a mood booster, a mindful pause in your day, energy to focus, being able to wind down with snacks in the evening, and also creating those new rituals that will help consumers to better themselves. And then finally, I think there's something really important that is still well established, is this idea that snack has to deliver on nostalgia, on emotional connections. There's definitely a powerful link between food and memories. So when you bring out a new snack into the market, you can ask yourself, what are the roots of my ingredients? Am I providing some comfort to consumers? Even if my snack may be made of ingredients that come from an exotic country, is there some kind of traditions I can establish around this snacking opportunity? So these are 4 important trends, and then we're going to ask ourselves, how do we plot those trends in our innovation lifecycle model? Because that's a really good way of navigating the trends. So back to our model. So the blue line is the innovation life cycle curve. So what we know is that the trends, they enter the market from technology, where you have the science, the doctors, and they come as niche trend, which means you have a low consumer awareness. And then they get picked up by early adopters, and they travel, and they become an emerging trend that is heading towards the mass market. And then it gets more embedded as it's diffusing into mass market along that blue curve, and it becomes more and more familiar in the mass market. So if we look at 3 of those trends, we can see that providing an experience with benefits, it's still kind of emerging. Not quite, it's more with the early adopters at the moment. When we look at nutritious indulgence, now it really has moved into mass market. So this is where you can make volume. It's growing. And then nostalgia, it's a mass market trend. Now, the second question you need to ask yourself is, where should I play in the snacking category? And that's really important to understand who's your consumer segment and what are their expectations. So if we look at our model, you could say that in technology, people, they look for a need, something that will fit their condition. In lifestyle, where you have the early adopters, it's about my attitude, my values. They want to change. In early mass, it's about solution. They know they have to change, but they need a solution, they need help. And then mass market is all about normality. They don't want to change, they want to keep the tradition. So just to give you some examples, so in technology, you will have, for example, the athletes in sports nutrition. And here they want a boost for their performance. In lifestyle, here you have more the people who are making some mindful choices. And they will be looking for satisfying cravings while nourishing the body. In early mass, it's about solution. It's usually a busy parent, and that person, whether it's a mom or dad, they seek energy and they seek convenient solutions in their day. And then in mass market, this is tradition. This is about having a positive and healthy experiences with your family. So just looking a little bit more in detail on each segment. So in technology, those people that are driven by rational. It has to fit their condition. It's a proven new technologies. It's function before food, expert brand. And for them, you must highlight the science proof and the health claims. In lifestyle, where you have your early adopters, it's quite interesting. Here it's driven by emotion and lifestyle. For them, eating is a mindful choice. So it has to fit me. It has to be new, different. It has to be very much aligned with their values. So here, if your brand has a view on the society, this is where you can bond with those consumers. So to win them, clean, sustainable ingredients, but also very strong storytelling with values is very important. Our early mass segment. So people here are very busy. They are managing different roles in their life. And what they want is a solution. And they are driven by convenience. They want really new things that are made easier for them. It has to fit their routine, easy to make healthy choice, convenient and reassurance, still aspirational. They will still buy premium brands if they see a value. So really here, to win that segment, you need to talk about clear benefit and simple solutions. And then finally, our mass market segment, our late mass market segment. It's about tradition and familiarity. So it's driven by normal routine. They don't really want to change habit. The ingredients need to sound like it's everyday kitchen cupboard ingredients. Taste and food before health and nature. The mass market price, of course. So for them, in a way, it's quite simple. No claims, nothing new, but you have to connect with what they already know. So it's really working with their knowledge. So this is our 4 segments along the innovation lifecycle model. And you can think of, if you have an ingredient, okay, who could I target with my ingredient? What should be the brands I should be working with? What are the consumer personas? So then you need to think of, okay, what type of concept should I launch for each of those consumer personas? What would work with them? And we are back to our 4 questions. How do I compile the right combo of those 4 factors for the right consumer persona? So if you think of our athletes, you could be targeting a gym bro, and this product, Bulk, is actually doing it quite well. It's a mix of nutritious plant-based ingredients, and we know that plant-based is is rising in interest among the sports nutrition, especially the weekend warriors. It's got no added sugars, polyols, artificial sweeteners, but it's really giving you that sort of energy, the whole food nourishing energy. And it's really good, for lunch or a boost before your workout or as a treat after your session. And of course, the brand is all about bulking. I mean, the name bulk. And it's a goal-driven brand. So also you would trust this brand to help you with this, with your sports goals. And if you look at how the brand is communicating the rules of play, it has a very clear field of expertise. It's also bringing out some health claims, clinical data. It's backed by science, and it really has this confident expert feel. Now, if we move to our second consumer persona, the yogi person, the story is completely different. But what is really important is that if you look at the factor 3, which is understand the benefits, it's all about this satisfying snack. And it's this holistic approach that is not only a fantastic, surprising combo of flavors and texture. It's not only this superfood protein-packed seeds. You want something that is no compromise. It's exciting. It's nourishing. It's also a conscious choice because it's made working with regenerative farmers. So it means the product is also restoring the soil, not only your body, but also it's good for the planet. So this person, she is very knowledgeable, so she wants to have the full story. So you can see the list of ingredients is quite important, although she wants something that is very clean. And trusts the brand, understanding the story behind, who's behind that story. And in this case, it's a women-owned business. It's been started by Emily, and she sort of created that new belief that every snack is an opportunity to savor the joy of balanced living. So it's about making snacking something that is super positive, that you should do in your day, and it's part of, this new habit that we should all embrace as long as we do it properly. And as you can see here, the rules of play is all about bonding with the consumer. It's very personal. There's a lot of joy, and it's also talking about the full supply chain, showing the farmers where the product is being grown. So it's really having this some very strong values. But it's not dull at all. I think that's what the previous speaker was saying. The colors are really popping. It's full of joy and satisfaction. Then if we move to our early mass consumer, our busy mom, here it has to be much more simple. Do you remember? She's very busy. It needs to be a convenient solution. So Nix is probably a very good example. And it's really giving her energy in a very convenient and tasty way, but giving her more than the basic snack. It's adding protein and vitamins to daily intake. So it's really useful. It's a useful snack that is also super tasty and very convenient. And here, of course, Nix, he could have launched in technology. He could have done a very technical product, but he decided to launch a brand that is more like a friendly expert, which is more like her partner in her day, which will work very well for this consumer persona. So, but of course, here what is really important is it has to be tempting. That's, I would say, the first thing. Tempting, simple. You need to make the benefits very easy to understand. And of course, fit my routine. And then we move to our mass market. And here, as you can see, as we are moving along, it's less is more. This is all about feel-good snacking. It's all about blending familiarity with permissibility and indulgence. So feel-good snacking, as you can see in terms of accept the ingredients, it's very simple. It's what consumers already know. They know about fibers. They are starting to hear a lot about proteins. They are mindful of calories, but they also want their familiar format, you know, the puffy snacks. They love their puffy snacks. And in terms of the brand, as you can see, it's very inclusive. Bites we love. So it has to be very inclusive for the family. It really has to portray that enjoyment without the guilt. And the rules of play, it's almost establishing yourself as this new gold standard. This is, you know, what you should have as a snack. Because it's, you know, it's a lentils puff, but it's about removing all the barriers. So it's everything you love about the product, but without anything you would reject. It's enjoyment without the guilt, and it's very inclusive. It has to work for the whole family. And the pack format, as you can see, you've got different sizes. And at the end of the day, the key message is, yes, you can keep treating yourself. There's nothing bad about that. So just going back to what we've just achieved, and it's quite a lot. We started by understanding how the trends are evolving in the market. Then at step 2, we ask ourselves, where should we play? Should we stay in niche, or can we also grow in the mass market? And what does that mean? Then we look at who is it that we should target? What are those key personas? And what does that mean for our messages and our rules of play? So the key success strategy is that if you are selling an ingredient, you need to think beyond and really think of that concept solution. And that means working with your customers on the brand and story concept with the right consumers and the right communication. And that's it. Please get in touch. If you can also register for our next upcoming report that we're just going to be launching in the next couple of days.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Aurore. Fantastic. You know, the first time I heard you speak, Aurore, is the first time I understood this concept of brand story and backstory. I love the way you approach analysis, and thank you for being so generous today. I saw a lot of cameras out.
It was like a masterclass, I guess.
Yeah, it was, and it was fantastic. Has anyone got a question for Aurore? There we go.
Thank you, Aurore. It was a really insightful presentation. I'm just wondering, as brands look to develop new products to enter a saturated market of snacking, and you have to consider that personal story and bonding to the consumer, but also make sure it's inclusive to their surroundings, to their, you highlighted in your slide, make it easy, that can be enjoyable to the family. So what is your advice here for brands to strike that balance of being really personal to the consumer seeking their product, but accessible enough for their surrounding other consumers?
Yeah, it's a very good question. Actually, I'm doing a project at the moment, which is exactly about that. I guess, yes, as the previous speaker said, if you position yourself as vegan, immediately you are being perceived as activist. So you could be positioning yourself as doing good to the planet and doing good but without being a vegan brand. I think that will be kind of the first a way of being very inclusive. So you can still have that personal touch, but without being too activist. You can be very authentic, and it's about maybe being more of a lovable brand without being too activist. I would say that. So it's about showing perhaps some broader values and really political values, I would say.
Amazing. One question I had, Aurore, is I mean, there's so much food for thought there. One thing that really struck me was this, the scenario where we talk about behave as if you're the gold standard.
Yes.
I hadn't seen that before. It makes so much sense. It's about confidence.
Yeah, exactly.
But it's also about really understanding where you sit with the competition.
Yeah.
How much work do you do when you're working with brands in terms of looking at the competitive environment, and who else is in the space? Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's very important. So we always look at the competitive environment. But yes, the gold standard, it's what I love about that is that quite often we say, but in mass market, you cannot innovate, but you can become the new normal. You can look at what are the hidden nutritional assets that your product has, or how can you improve that to really, be that the next staple snack.
Exactly. It's like a whole other way of thinking about a challenger brand. Don't come in as a challenger.
Yes, exactly.
Come in as the winner.
Exactly.
Right?
I mean, especially if you are leading a category, you should keep leading it with the standards you want to see in the future. Make the standards, democratize the standards.
I love that. No, that's wonderful. Have we got any other questions for Aurore? We're just about running out of time. Probably have time for one more. No? All right. Listen, on that, you have closed the show, Aurore, in fantastic style. Thank you so much. Huge round of applause for Aurore.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. And thank you to all of you for being here. I hope you enjoy the rest of the show. I hope you've enjoyed all the content this year. And we're really, really looking forward to seeing you next year at FI Europe 2024. Thank you.